Our final speaker today is Nate Quigley, co-founder and CEO of Chatbooks.
It's exciting to be here on this stage with some really incredible organizations. We're just a little startup company. So I thought I would try to make one point by telling you a terrifying startup story. This looks happy. It looks great. There's this beautiful, clean stack of books. We sold the first chat book in June of 2014, so just about 4 years ago. And we've since sold over 5 million of them. We've grown, had a great time. But there was this terrifying moment right before that. And the point I want to make today is that gender diversity, for us and I think for most companies, is not a nice-to-have thing that makes you feel good like you're doing the right thing in 2018, but that it's critical to survive and thrive. So you ready for the scary part? This is the spooky backyard. And believe it or not, this is the homepage that I designed to launch the company that's become Chatbooks. I had this brilliant idea, and I actually spent, this will terrify you, this is part of the scary part, $10,000 to have a 3D rendering of that jar that had the word folk story, which was the name of the company that I'd also come up with. And then I put these fireflies in it. And I'm from Connecticut. We had fireflies in the summer. It was just beautiful, like, oh, those are fleeting, lovely memories that we want to capture. The company was always about capturing family memories. But then I showed this to Vanessa, after I'd already done it. Vanessa's my wife. And she said, I feel like I'm going to get murdered in that backyard. This looks like a terrifying 80s horror movie. And why are there bugs? And what's the jar? Aren't the bugs all going to die? Okay, so I said, all right, fine. And so I grabbed a jar, and I went across the street to the beach, and I found some shells, and I put them in there, and I took my camera out, and I took this picture. At least it's not terrifying anymore. But it was still a jar. So I showed it to Vanessa, and I showed it to a bunch of her friends. Like, why is there a jar? Like, what are you talking about? I want a book. And I'm like, no, you don't want a book. Books are over. Books are dead. This is like you just put little memories in the jar. And like these seashells, they're like, yeah, but then I dump them out, and they're a mess, and there's sand in it. So I was getting really clear feedback from basically every single potential customer I showed that they hated everything I'd done so far. And this was another, we're like several more tens of $1,000s into this little experiment. So at least we weren't scared anymore, but I was starting to get a little scared because nobody liked the thing we were doing. But I'm also very stubborn. And guess what? I had 4 guys on the team. I had a technical co-founder and then 3 other people we'd hired. They were all guys. Vanessa was, kind of observing this little project of mine, but she wasn't involved really. She just said, we don't want a jar, and none of her friends did either. But we persisted. We changed the name of the company, went from Folk Story to Just Family because nobody liked Folk Story either. And then we wrote about 5 billion lines of code represented here in the zillions of things that Just Family now did, all about, preserving family memories. Pictures, jars, but still the jar's there. I'm like, well, maybe we put a cloud in the jar instead of bugs or shells. Everyone still hated it. So this is 2.5 years in, and that's where it gets really scary. So 2.5 years in is millions of dollars in, kind of all of our money, and now friends and family money, and it's not working at all. So I'm starting to get a little humble for the first time. And I'm starting to listen a little more closely. Vanessa comes down and says, just print my Instagram. And in this moment of clarity and inspiration that she'd had, in this moment of humility and desperation I'd had, I recognized my co-founder who was not yet in the business, and we pulled her into the business. And that's kind of where the story starts to get fun. So this is about survive. Had Vanessa not had the strong leadership voice that you can have as a wife and as a co-founder, she wouldn't have prevailed upon me. And she kind of didn't for a while because she was leaving me alone to humble myself a bit. This is about thrive. So we now have, and I'll show you the numbers in a minute, a lot of women that work at Chatbooks, which is phenomenal, and in leadership positions as well. Our CMO had the idea that we should go partner with Rifle Paper Company to offer these custom floral designs for Chatbooks. You could have asked every single guy in the company 100 times. We never would have come up with that. We sold $1 million worth of Rifle Paper Company design covers in like 3 weeks at the end of 2016, and they've been an amazing partner ever since. So that's survive. This is Roxanne. She's the office bulldog, in charge, very determined. we are proud of these numbers. So 73% of our total team are women, and they fill 63% of our leadership team roles. It's skewed a little bit because we have about 70 or 75 women who work from home in our customer support group. So if you just narrow down to the 60 or 70 people that work in the office, we're down to 35% of that team are women, but filling 38% of leadership roles. And it's really important to us because of these terrifying life and death experiences that we've had, and because of the more optimistic examples of thriving that we've now seen many times as well. So it's very important to us, and I'm going to finish with a similar slide, Deepika. We are 2 women, 3 men on our executive team with an open spot, and maybe with 2, because Dan's our COO, CFO, and we're probably going to cut his job in half because it's too hard. We're very focused on our future CPO being a woman, and we've been looking for a while. We've actually engaged a search firm and been really clear. I don't even want to see male candidates. Our CPO is a woman, and I hope we find her soon. So if you are that woman, please email me after the show. We're still looking. She's missing. That's the milk carton picture. Hope we find her. Thank you.